Now we would like to begin the press conference to announce the 2024 Japan Prize laureates. I am Yasuhiro Mashiko, Secretary General of the Japan Prize Foundation, and I will be moderating today's press conference. Thank you so much for joining us. Please note that this press conference will be streamed live on YouTube. Now we'd like to begin. I would like to introduce today's speakers to give us their greetings. From the organizer, Hiroshi Komiyama, President of the Japan Prize Foundation, Professor Makoto Asashima, specially appointed professor of Teikyo University and Professor Emeritus of University Tokyo. First of all, on behalf of the foundation, Hiroshi Komiyama, the president, is going to extend a few words.
I am Hiroshi Komiyama, President of the Japan Prize Foundation. I'd like to express my deep gratitude to the media for their continued support of Japan Prize. Thank you very much. In the early 1980s, many people responded to the government's idea of creating a world-class prize for science and technology in Japan by donating to the Japan Prize. The first Japan Prize was launched in 1985, and this year marks its 40th anniversary. Among the world's science and technology awards, Japan Prize has two unique features. The first is selection criteria. The most important criterion for the Japan Prize is contribution to the peace and prosperity of humankind. The nominations received from all over the world are first selected by a panel of experts in the field, who select the finalists based primarily on their academic excellence. A jury of experts from a wide range of fields, including specialists in the subject matter, then selects the laureates based on their contribution to the peace and prosperity of humankind. In recent years, humankind has been faced with a variety of serious challenges, which require scientific and technological solutions. Principles that the Japan Prize was founded on are becoming increasingly important. The second is the target area. Japan Prize divides all fields of science and technology into two major areas: physics, chemistry, information and engineering, and life, agriculture, medicine, and pharmaceutical sciences. The winners are selected from two fields each year, so that the 6 fields will be covered in 3 years, covering a wide range of science and technology. Japan Prize focuses on the achievements in the field of social implementation of technology and social infrastructure, which are difficult to be highlighted in other awards, as well as on the multidisciplinary achievements, which are not easily covered by the vertically divided judging process of physics, chemistry, physiology, and others. Therefore, this is the second feature of this award. This year's prize is awarded in the field of resources, energy, environment, and social infrastructure, and medicine and pharmaceutical sciences. A total of 108 people have received the award in the past. The history of these awards reminds us of the richness of life we enjoy today and the role that science and technology have played in realizing this richness. I strongly hope that this prize will continue to be widely recognized around the world as a science and technology award of the highest standard, and that it will continue to make a significant contribution to the peace and prosperity of humankind. We'd like to ask the media for your continued support for the Japan Prize. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the members of the selection committee and two subcommittees who have worked very hard. Now, Professor Asashima, the head of the selection committee, who was directly involved in the process, will announce the laureates of the 2024 Japan Prize.
それでは2024年ジャパンプライズの受賞者を審査にあたっていただきました審査委員会の浅島誠委員長から発表いたします。
ただいまご紹介いたしました。My name is Asashima, and I have just been introduced to you. I have been the jury president of the Japan Prize 2024. Japan Prize in November, 2 years ago, we decided on and announced the definition of the two fields of award, namely resources, energy, environment, and social infrastructure, and medical science and pharmaceutical science. The foundation then asked approximately 15,500 distinguished scientists and engineers from Japan and abroad who are registered nominators of the foundation to nominate candidates for the awards. As a result, a total of 328 nominations were received, including 130 in the field of resources, energy, environment, and social infrastructure, and 198 in the field of medicine and pharmaceutical sciences. These nominations were rigorously reviewed for academic originality and excellence by the two review panels established for each field, and at the same time, the distinctive feature of the Japan Prize, how the discovery or invention contributes to society, was also discussed and examined extensively. In the process, we also received objective opinions from 100 experts in the field from Japan and abroad. And based on these, the jury conducted the final screening of the award candidates, and the Foundation's Board of Directors made a decision. We are pleased to announce the winners of the 2024 Japan Prize who have been selected based on the above screening process. In the area of resources, energy, environment, and social infrastructure, Sir Brian Hoskins, Professor Emeritus of Department of Meteorology, University of Reading, and Dr. John Wallace, Professor Emeritus, Department of Atmospheric Sciences, University of Washington. The awarded achievement is development of a scientific basis for understanding and predicting extreme weather events. In the field of medical science and pharmaceutical science, the award is presented to Dr. Ronald Evans, Professor and Director of Gene Expression Laboratory at the Salk Institute. His achievement was the discovery of the nuclear hormone receptor family and its application to drug development. We have decided to present the awards to the above three persons. We would like to express our sincere congratulations to all of you for your achievements, which are worthy of the Japan Prize, a prize that recognizes scientific and technological progress and their contribution to the peace and prosperity of humankind.
First, Sir Brian Hoskins and Professor John Wallace, recipients of the Resources, Energy, Environment, and Social Infrastructure Award. In the summer of 2023, reports of heat waves, heavy rains, and droughts were coming from all over the northern hemisphere. Japan also experienced record-breaking heat, And the seasonal forecast issued by the Japan Meteorological Agency in June predicted a trend toward higher temperatures. Weather is a complex phenomenon involving a variety of factors, and nowadays computer-based numerical weather forecasting with practical accuracy has become indispensable as a social infrastructure. This is due to the development of computers and improvements in observation and forecasting technology. Another important factor is the progress in elucidating the actual conditions and mechanisms of atmospheric circulation changes over a wide range of spatio-temporal scales, enabling us to understand not only individual weather phenomena in each region, but also how the effects of atmospheric circulation changes occurring far away are transmitted on a global scale. Professor Sir Brian Hoskins and Professor John Wallace have made significant contributions to these developments in meteorology and climate dynamics over the past half-century since the 1970s through their work in theoretical and numerical modeling and data analysis, respectively. Numerical weather and climate forecasting, which has developed on the back of the research results of both professors, have now assumed a major social responsibility to predict extreme weather events associated with global warming and to link disaster prevention and reduction.
Next, I will briefly describe the achievements of Professor Ronald Evans, who received the award in the field of medicine and pharmaceutical science. There are numerous hormones in our body that regulate various functions of the body. Hormones are classified as water-soluble and fat-soluble, and although it was known that fat-soluble hormones reach the nucleus of cells, their receptors remained unknown for a long time. Professor Evans was the first in the world to successfully isolate receptors for fat-soluble hormones and vitamins, and found that these nuclear receptors are a group of molecules with a common structure, namely superfamily. He also revealed that nuclear receptors act as transcriptional regulators that regulate the transcription of target genes. This has accelerated drug discovery, and the drugs targeting nuclear receptors now account for about 15% of all drugs approved by the US Food and Drug Administration. Professor Evans' achievements in elucidating the entire picture of all 48 members of a nuclear receptor superfamily in humans has made a significant contribution not only to academia but also to society. That's all from me. Once again, I'd like to congratulate 3 distinct recipients.
浅島先生、ありがとうございました。それでは、受賞者からご挨拶をいただきます。まず、ホスキンス博士、お願いします。
So we'd like to now hear from the laureates, starting with Professor Hoskins.
Thank you. I am delighted and very honored to be awarded the Japan Prize. It is an honor that I should like to share with my family, who have loved and supported me and also kept my feet on the ground. I should also like to share this honor with my collaborators and students, and with the University of Reading and its meteorology department, in which nearly all my research has been performed. I thank the foundation and also the person who did all the hard work of nominating me. It is a particular pleasure to me that the citation is a joint one with my colleague and friend, Mike Wallace. When I started my research in weather and climate more than 50 years ago, it was a time of amazing opportunity. There was a wealth of experience of atmospheric behavior. Computers and the science of the atmosphere were at the stage that we could develop and use computer models like laboratory models to try to bridge the large gap between the existing theory and observed weather systems and observed planetary scale atmospheric motion. There were hints that increased skill in weather forecasting on shorter and on longer timescales may be possible. Also, the idea that there could be significant climate change due to greenhouse gas emissions by human activity was starting to be more widely considered in the climate science community. My group developed new ways of solving models of the motion of the atmosphere on computers. We used them to understand the growth and decay of weather systems, of low pressure systems in middle latitudes like Japan and England, how they are organized into storm tracks, and how they change the larger scale flow on which they grow. At the same time, Mike Wallace produced analysis of storm tracks using new observational data. Viewing his results in the context of our theoretical results led to valuable insights. When the atmosphere is disturbed in one region, waves can communicate the information to other regions, influencing the weather there. We used theory and models to show that the waves tend to move on great circle paths, for example, from the tropics to higher latitudes. The paths can also be refracted and reflected like rays of light. Again, the theory proved useful for understanding the observational results of Mike Wallace. I have always viewed it as very important to try to use the insights of basic research to aid in the development of weather forecasting and climate projections. The remarkable progress made in both these areas is particularly important at a time when the challenge of human-induced climate change and the associated extreme weather events are center stage. Thank you again for this great honor.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. Please stay online, and could you please mute yourself? Next, Professor Wallace, please.
Yes. Well, I'm delighted and honored to have been chosen as a co-recipient of the Japan Prize. As a boy growing up, I was fascinated with the weather, and I was curious about what makes it so different from one year to the next. As a graduate student at MIT during the 1960s, I was privileged to be able to pursue curiosity-driven research. For my PhD thesis, I analyzed the upper air data from balloons released at hundreds of weather stations around the world. The data were all on the form of punch cards at that time, and I spent countless hours hauling the cards back and forth between my office and the computer center. By the late 1970s, 10 years after I got my PhD, we were entering into the information age. By then, all my data were on high-density magnetic tape, no more punch cards, thank goodness. The weather services were producing their forecasts using numerical models. And to feed the data into the models, they were creating gridded data sets of wind and temperature and pressure. And they were just beginning to archive them and make them available to researchers. Another important development around that time was that the first infrared cameras carried aboard satellites. Using the gridded data from those cameras, it was possible to map the distribution of deep convective clouds in the tropics. My students and I were among the first to be able to make use of these new data sets. And when we analyzed the upper level winds and how they vary from month to month and year to year, we found some interesting patterns. Thanks to the theoretical insights derived from the modeling work of Brian Hoskins and his colleagues, we recognized that these would be important for understanding why the weather varies from month to month, year to year, and also how human-induced climate change is experienced locally. We also noticed at that time that there were systematic year-to-year variations in the upper level winds associated with variations in the sea surface temperatures in the tropical Pacific connected with El Nino. And these have also proven to be useful in forecasting. I consider myself lucky to have been in the right time and the right place to make contributions to these advances. And I recognize that there are many scientists around the world who have also contributed. I want to thank those who nominated me for the Japan Prize, my graduate students who worked along with me in this research. And I'd especially like to thank my wife, who put her own career on hold and devoted most of her time to raising our children when I was a young scientist. And of course, it's a pleasure to share this award with my good friend and colleague, Brian Hoskins. Thank you.
ご列作しありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. Please stay online and please mute yourself. Thank you.
続きまして、エヴァンス博士お願いいたします。
Here we go. I think that's ready. Uh-oh. Well, first I want to thank you for all of you being here, and many thanks to the selection committee. Truly honored to be named 2024 Japan Prize recipient in the field of medical science and pharmaceutical science. Many people would not know that I have Japanese heritage as well in my family. My great-grandmother was from Nagasaki, so this makes this honor even more special. Science, as you might know, is a passion, and the goal is not to receive an award, but to explore the unknown and seek answers to important questions. Scientific discovery is challenging, and I'm grateful for the remarkable postdocs and students and technicians whose loyalty and dedication and enthusiasm has made this journey possible. The underlying goal of my work has been to uncover the secrets of how hormones activate gene networks that come alive to create and orchestrate what is known as organ physiology. Steroid hormones, thyroid hormones, vitamins A, vitamin D, and many more control our body physiology. The flick of a master switch, hormones, awakens sleeping genes. Well, my career has been devoted to exploring the dynamic nature of life, the flow of energy through the body, the link between nutrients and behavior, and how it all works together seamlessly until it doesn't. At that point, what was good and productive and protective can turn against you and become your worst enemy. So we study both the good and the bad, how hormones work, and how to reset the program when they fail. We discovered that even foods we eat contain hidden hormones that contribute to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, as well as the secrets to their treatment. This work from my lab was entirely hypnotic for me, addictive and exciting, drawing me into a strange universe of complex ideas on a search to reveal nature's secrets. And the discovery was like uncovering a hidden entrance to a mysterious pyramid. You know you're onto something exciting, but you aren't sure what. But by asking the right questions, we unlocked that door and discovered the steroid thyroid receptor superfamily, a collection of master genes that controls body physiology. Looking back, that moment in 1985, elucidating the complete structure of the first steroid receptor was one of the magical high points of my career. We were inside the pyramid, And there were other doors, and those doors led to 48 glittering rooms of receptors, each conducting a different genetic symphony, but also working together in concert. In many cases, we are still transcribing this elusive music. It's all there. You just have to bring it into the light. Well, I'm very grateful to all the members of my lab, members past and present, who have made this award possible. And most importantly, I'm thankful to my family for their love, understanding, and patience for what Francis Crick called this mad pursuit. Special thanks to my amazing wife, Ellen, and my incredible daughter, Lena, two inspiring women who give me perspective on what life is all about. I'm very grateful for the award, to everyone here for sharing this special day, and thank you very much.
Professor Evans, thank you very much. And please kindly remain connected with your microphone muted. And we will begin the photo session and the questions and answers session shortly. Please wait.
Now we are prepared, so we would like to take this time of a photo session. So the three recipients are shown on this screen. So please capture the screen, or please photograph the PC screen. Right. Now we would like to move on to the question and answer session. The recipient professors, please turn on your microphone, all of you. And the media members, if you have questions, please click the chat button and the contents of the question and who you would like to direct the question to being indicated, please send that. As much as time allows, we would like to read out the question. And this is firstly to the question to the two professors.
So how did you feel when you received this prize? Starting with Professor Hoskins, how did you feel when you found out that you won this prize?
Well, I was absolutely amazed. Actually, I got a first hint from an email from Mike Wallace saying, "Have you seen that rather nice email that's arrived?" And I hadn't, so I went to that, and I was staggered. I couldn't believe it, but I was just absolutely delighted and thought, oh, I really can't believe this is me, but it was. So that was just great. Thank you.
それでは、ウォルス博士お願いいたします。
Professor Wallace, please.
Yes. Well, when I first received the email, I wasn't surprised because I've received many emails from the Japan Foundation and other foundations inviting me to nominate people for the award. But then when I read it and it said, "Congratulations, you have been chosen," then I thought I was dreaming. And so I brought the computer to my wife and I showed it to her, and she just saw the words, "You have received a prize," and she said, "That's a scam." And I said, "No, this is not a scam. I know the Japan Foundation." And it took me a while to realize that I was not dreaming.
それではエヴァンス博士への質問。
Next is a question to Professor Evans. As you received this award, could you share with us what's your current feeling? And also, could you also share with us your passion or enthusiasm toward your future research activities?
Spotlight. Nice. Remove spotlight.
Did you get the translation?
Can you hear the voice from interpreter?
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
音が言ってないですね。通訳からの。
This is English line, English line. Can you hear the interpreter's voice?
The question is, how do you feel receiving Japan Prize and your hope to your future research?
Well, it's a great honor. It's and a surprise and something very special to receive this award. And it is, and I did not expect it at all. But we love the work that we do, but it's also great when a really special prize like this recognizes the work that we've done over the years, and hopefully the impact that our research has had, not just on understanding the lying parts of physiology, but also being able to develop new therapies that can help people that were not able to get certain types of treatments, particularly for cancer and metabolic disease. And so we're very excited by the science and also about the ability to translate the work that we do for the betterment of mankind.
Thank you very much. I'd like to move on to the next question. Professor Hoskins and Professor Wallace. Next question. How would you like to develop the area of the research that you have done so far in coming years, starting with Professor Hoskins?
We clearly have to understand even better than we do just what is happening to our climate system, and the extreme weather events around the world are really challenging us. They're happening at a rate that we really didn't expect, I think. And just understanding this even better, what is happening, and predicting so that people can make sure they're more resilient to the events, and also just the warning to everyone of what we are doing to our climate system. So somehow we have to get even more underneath it and be able to predict it, to both help people defend themselves and also to bring even more awareness of just how we have to modify our behavior. If we're going to live on this planet in a sustainable way, we just have to modify our behavior and realize we have to live with the earth, not on the earth. Thank you.
Yes, and I certainly subscribe to the long-term goals that Professor Hoskins just mentioned. I'm very concerned about how we live our lives in in recognition of the limitations of what the Earth can support, what we can take from it. But I think in terms of science, I see the future for people like me and who are like to find patterns in nature, to go to the shorter scales in space and time, to get down to the level of the thunderstorms and the gravity waves and the features that we have not been able to resolve in the models during our lifetime, and to draw from this rich set of data that we have from the satellites, to be able to describe those and to be able to quantify them and understand them in the same way that Hoskins and I have devoted our careers to the very large scale systems.
Now, turning to the question to Professor Evans, our technical staff has some questions to Professor Evans.
Professor Evans, sorry for interrupting. Could you please check you're selecting English journal?
Testing, testing. Can you hear? This is the interpreter speaking. Can you hear? This is the English line. Can you hear?
Professor Evans, are you selecting English journal? Can you hear the English interpreter sound?
Didn't hear the English interpretation.
Now, can you hear voice from interpreter?
Yeah,
Interpreter. This is testing from the interpreter. Interpreter speaking. This is the English line. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear?
No, it's not a group interview yet.
which Zoom are we on then? I guess. Sorry about that.
Yes, please remain at the previous URL.
And then the next question to Professor Evans.
Yeah.
In your research, the most important matter that cause your achievement that was awarded by JapanPrize.
So say that one more time. Sorry.
What is the greatest point that caused your great achievement?
Well, yeah, for me, I think the biggest impact is the unlocking a whole set of genetic networks that are really physiologic networks that we did not know existed. And so for maybe 100 years, we thought we understood body physiology. And then with the discovery of a superfamily, there were more new and novel parts of our physiology that we did not know existed. And this opened up a much larger area in biological sciences to find new hormones and what they're actually doing in the body. And this brought in maybe 1,000 laboratories around the world that began working on this superfamily. And that is something that we've been doing ever since then, but it now is kind of a worldwide effort because there's so much to try to understand. And so I think this is the biggest impact, is uncovering something that we didn't know that was there, that was so essential to our own biology. And so that has been, for me, the best part of it.
Next question to Professors Hoskins and Wallens, and also Professor Evans. Academia in Japan and also in the private sector, there are many researchers who are engaged or who are involved in the private sector as well as academia. So what do you expect from them? Could you make some comment on your expectations from Japan in this area?
Expectation.
Starting with Professor Hoskins, please.
Japanese scientists, both in the public sector and the private sector, are at the forefront of our subject and most subjects. And I think the private sector in Japan has been extremely good at actually applying the science, the scientific knowledge, and driving that forward to make the lives of many people better. And I hope Japanese scientists in the public and in the private sector will continue to do that. There have been remarkable things coming out of Japan in terms of living better on this planet, and I hope there will be in future.
Yes, certainly in academia, Japan has been among the leaders and in some of the basic research going back to the 1960s. I've in the process of recently putting a book together with a lot of illustrations, including some detailed illustrations of the waves from the Tonga eruption back 2 years ago. Some of the best pictures for that, some of the best graphics came from a company in Japan. And they were gracious enough to make those graphics available to us to include in the book to share with the public. And I think the level of technical elegance there was world class, some of the best we've seen. And I would expect and hope that this would continue.
And Professor Evans, expectation to Japan in your field.
Can you say that one more time?
What is your expectation to Japan in
Yes.
public and private sectors in your field?
Yeah. Well, the work that we do, I think, has a very wide impact, not only in the States, but in Japan in very profound ways. Firstly, I've had many of my outstanding postdocs and students come from Japan, and it's been a great honor to have them participate in this wonderful area and to bring back the technologies and the insight to be able to build their own laboratories in Japan and become some of the best scientists in this molecular genetic science area in the world. And so it started in my lab, but there are many labs now in Japan that are working in this space. And that's one of the wonderful things about science is that for every question you ask and for every answer you get, someone is doing that and they get new ideas of how to make that even better. And all the people in the labs in Japan, I think, really have made a big impact. And so that's one of the I think most important things that that science allows you to do, is to begin with something and then have that expand in the wonderful way that it has, particularly in Japan.
Thank you. I think our time is up, and we would like to continue our Q&A. I'm sorry that we cannot
Time has
take all the
come, so
questions.
we would like to finish the question and answer session with this. As for the questions that we were not able to answer as much as we could respond back to you at a later time. Recipients, thank you very much for your contribution. Please do not disconnect this line, and please wait. The ceremony for the award is on the 16th of April, and on the 17th there would be the lecture meeting, and then on the 18th there would be another meeting, which is the media interview, and the materials could be obtained from the homepage of this foundation. And so we will have the group meeting after this. As for the research, energy, environment, and social foundations, Professor Hoskins and Professor Orris's interview, please wait here. And then for the medicine and pharmaceutical sciences area, Professor Evans' interview, please move on to the next URL for the group interview. With this, we would like to conclude the 2024 Japan Prize recipient announcement press conference. Thank you so much for joining this meeting.